So since the launch of Modern Warfare, we have looked at many elements of the story of Call of Duty Modern Warfare. We have looked at the ending of the campaign, analyzing what it means and what characters are going to be returning because of it. On top of that, we have dove into specific characters like Gaz and Alex, looking at their backstories and talking about how they came to be as characters. But there's one big thing we haven't talked about. At the very end of the campaign, it comes up on screen saying the story is to be continued within Spec Ops, and I haven't seen a single video on YouTube where people are talking about what this story actually is. And this story actually brings back a bunch of characters that we've seen before in previous Call of Duty games, and today we are going to analyze this secret story. This video is going to specifically be on the secret story of Spec Ops. First time we ever saw Spec Ops in a Modern Warfare game was in Modern Warfare 2. It was a co-op based game that basically put you into individual missions and ranked you in stars based off of how well or how fast you completed the mission. Once again, we saw this going into Modern Warfare 3. The difference this time though is they also implemented the survival mode, which was kind of similar to the wave-based zombie mode from the Black Ops series. However, going into Modern Warfare 2019, things are a little bit different. As we mentioned before, it has a full-fledged story that continues on after the events of the campaign. The first look we actually get at the story is at the very end of the campaign. Kate Laswell and Captain Price are sitting down for tea when they are talking about the situation of the world after the death of Roman Barkov and Omar Suleiman, the leader of Al-Qatala.
Enjoy the tea then.
Zakhaev wants Barkov's throne.
I almost buried him in Pripyat with Macmillan.
That was the father. This is the son, Victor.
Lovely family.
They're big fans of Hatirs.
So there's really two big pieces of information we find out from that. The first of which is that the mission in Call of Duty 4 called All Gillied Up, where Captain Price and Captain Macmillan go after Imran Zakhaev, actually happened in this universe during Modern Warfare 2019 as well. And based off of what Captain Price said there,
I almost buried him in Pripyat with Macmillan.
That was the father.
I almost buried him in Pripyat. It sounds like they actually know that Captain Price didn't kill him, whereas in Call of Duty 4, they thought he was dead. Now, the second takeaway here is that his son, Victor Zakhaev, is attempting to work with Al-Qatala forces. We do get to see Victor Zakhaev in Call of Duty 4, but this time he seems to be the one pulling the reins. Now, after Captain Price and Kate Laswell finish their tea, we actually get to see another cutscene of what is going on in Russia. And as it turns out, we know the guy who is slowly taking over Russia with the help of Al-Qatala.
Нет, нет, умоляю, пожалуйста.
Now, you may recognize this guy as one of the main bad guys of Call of Duty 4. His name is none other than Khaled al-Assad. And after this, we get to see a cutscene of what they are planning to do about it.
City's under evacuation. Al-Qatala's got complete control.
This place was nice once.
Well, it's not anymore.
East and West rebuilt Verdansk after the Cold War.
AQ didn't like that cooperation. Now they've got armor, heavy weapons.
Terrorists with tanks.
Who's at the helm?
Someone new.
Nice hit. What's his name?
We don't know, but he's got friends in high places.
This is Russian intel. Where did we get this?
My counterpart in Moscow.
The CIA working with the FSB.
No, it's the first time.
Kamarov.
Captain Price. Nikolai. You've been a bad boy.
From you, that's a compliment.
Please.
So as we find out from this cutscene, Al-Assad and Victor Zakhaev are now working together, running the terrorist force Al-Qatala to slowly take over Russia, and Kate Laswell and Komarov have teamed up to take them down. Now, as it turns out, the cutscenes don't end here. You actually get more cutscenes the more you play Spec Ops. So the first of these cutscenes plays before Operation Headhunter, and in case you haven't seen it, I'm going to play the whole thing and then break down the important parts that you may have missed.
This is Case Officer Laswell of the Coalition. I'm in joint command with Sergeant Kamarov of the Allegiance.
Let's put our differences aside. Together, as Armistice, this is our first direct action against the Al-Qatala army.
Your mission is to find, fix, and finish off high-value targets of the AQ network in Verdansk.
These HVTs are powerful, well-connected collaborators, offering material aid and support to our enemy.
They all serve one new master, who's leading the Al-Qatala charge in Verdansk. To find him, we need to find them.
The first operation is against the high-ranking AQ figures they call Al-Malik. He's a landlord.
Al-Malik owns several warehouses across Verdansk, serving as Al-Qatala weapons depots. He's a slumlord for guns and terrorists.
Your team will insert into the southern district to engage and capture enemy personnel for intel leading to Al-Malik's warehouses.
Get this right and we will nullify AQ's stockpiles, hit the jackpot, and we locate Al-Malik himself. Be advised, if you find him, he will be well defended. Good hunting.
So, if I'm being honest, out of the rest of the cutscenes we're going to look at, this is not the most important one, but there is two big takeaways. First of all, the joint task force between the Allegiance and the Coalition is called Armistice. And you may recognize this logo, but in fact, this is a logo we have never seen before. It does look similar to the Task Force 141 logo that we've seen in previous games, or that you've seen on Alex's shoulder throughout the campaign. But this is definitely 100% a different logo. The second big takeaway is that the first couple of missions that you go on in Spec Ops are specifically for you to get more information. Throughout this cutscene, we don't even know that the major bad guy is named Asad. The only reason why I personally knew this is because we've seen him before in previous Call of Duty games. Now, after this, the next cutscene that we see is before we go in for Operation Paladin. Here is the cutscene.
The criteria for mission success is to defeat Al-Qatala's supply chain.
This is an arms dealer they call Mr. Z. Z is wanted by the International Criminal Court for conspiracy to transport, sell, and supply arms to a foreign terrorist organization.
Mr. Z appears to have focused on one exclusive client, Al-Qatala's new #1, and has positioned himself as both supplier and advisor to the terrorist leader.
A volunteer physician on the ground, Dr. Linda Morales, informed us that Z's been using medical shipments as a front for moving hazardous materials into Verdansk. 4 hours ago, she was taken hostage by AQ operatives.
Armistice's primary objective is to rescue Dr. Morales. If Z is bringing chemical weapons into this fight, she may know where to find them.
So this is where things start to get weird, because throughout this entire cutscene, they are telling us that this new Mr. Z is the person who is supplying weapons to Al-Assad. Now, they show a picture of them shaking hands, they show a ton of pictures of Mr. Z, but the weird part is remember that cutscene that we looked at earlier, where they told us that the major bad guy is not Imran Zakhaev, it is Victor Zakhaev?
That was the father. This is the son, Victor.
Lovely family.
All the images that they are showing us here are of Imran Zakhaev. And oddly, throughout all of the cutscenes that we're going to look at today, we never once see a picture of Victor Zakhaev. So unless they are saying that this is what Victor Zakhaev looks like in this universe, I don't really understand what they are going for here. But throughout this cutscene, we find out about a doctor who has more information on Mr. Z, and that is your mission, to find, retrieve, and save her so that you can get more information on Mr. Z. Now, a lot of people assume that that is actually the last cutscene, but in fact, it is not. There is a secret cutscene that you unlock only after completing every single Spec Ops mission, and here it is.
From the onset of this operation, the formation of Armistice ruffled feathers. They said Russia and the West couldn't work together. They were wrong.
Thanks to your assault teams, the Al-Qatala support network has been cut off, and the power brokers that emboldened this terrorist threat have been eliminated.
However, Mr. Z still remains at large. His weapons are locked and loaded in terrorist hands all over Verdansk. Our presence in the region is the only line of defense preventing Z and the new AQ boss from pushing through to Urzikstan.
This unknown leader is now calling his army Al-Qatala Al-Jadid, the new killers.
These new killers are calling him the Immortal Lion, or Khaled al-Assad.
So after this, we fully find out that Mr. Z, aka Imran Zakhaev, is absolutely the weapons dealer for Asad. And this is actually supported with the rest of the lore of multiplayer, as well as in several places across many of the maps, you can find Zakhaev arms crates scattered throughout the maps. And eventually at the end of the cutscene, they finally utter his name.
Or Khaled al-Assad.
Now we also find out about the new name of the Al-Qatala forces,
Tala al-Jadid.
which literally just translates to the new killers, which is real creative, Mr. Terrorists. And that pretty much sums up the story of Spec Ops. Al-Assad rises to power with the help of Mr. Z, aka Imran Zakhaev, and eventually they are planning to move their forces from Russia back to Urzikstan. Now they have announced that they are planning on adding Spec Ops missions to Modern Warfare post-launch, and my guess would be that these missions are two things. One, trying to hold the Al-Qatala forces to Russia, and two, our characters eventually going after Al-Assad and Mr. Z. Now, on Friday, I made a video talking about all of the intel locations within Spec Ops, and as it turns out, some of these pieces of intel actually give us a deeper look into some of the operators within multiplayer. And as you guys know, in Black Ops 4, I took a deep dive into all of the specialist characters within the game. Now, I don't know whether you guys are interested in this or not, but if you would like me to do the same kind of thing and continue that series in this game, diving into the story of the operators, all you gotta do to show me is let me know what operator you'd like me to dive into down in the comments, and also hit that like button, because the more likes this video gets, the more likely I am to actually do that series. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the full story of Spec Ops. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought of it down in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. And as always, if you want to stay up to date on all my videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you turn notifications on. And as always, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time, peace out.
We are reaching for the stars, but we're making this too hard, and I want